From behind the tinted glass of her Rolls-Royce, Ava Monroe, the youngest black billionaire in New York, watched the storm swallow the city whole. She should have been at her penthouse by now, but something in the blizzard made her pause. Then she saw her, a little girl, barefoot, staggering through the snow, clutching a torn blanket. In that instant, Ava's world of power and perfection shattered into something raw, something painfully familiar. The storm screamed across the empty street, swallowing sound, color, and hope. Snow whirled through the night like torn feathers, coating the city in a merciless white silence. Inside the warm cocoon of her Rolls-Royce, Ava Monroe sat motionless. The soft hum of the heater and the faint glow from the dashboard lights barely touched her expressionless face. She was used to control of her company, her image, her life. But control meant nothing against the howling wind that now pounded against the car windows. She didn't even know why she was here. The meeting had been canceled hours ago, yet she'd told her driver to keep driving deeper into the storm. A part of her, one she'd buried long ago beneath layers of success and diamond ambition, had whispered, "Don't go home tonight." Before we begin, let me know where you are watching from. Leave your country name in the comments below. And if you love stories about courage, loyalty, and community, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next stories. Her driver, Marcus, gripped the wheel tightly. "Ma'am, visibility's near zero. We should turn back." Ava didn't answer right away. Her gaze drifted through the fogged glass, unfocused. Then, through the veil of snow, something flickered, something small and moving. "Wait," she said sharply. Marcus slowed the car. Headlights cut through the white chaos, landing on a fragile shape stumbling along the road. It was a child, barefoot, wrapped in a torn blanket, her tiny frame shuddering with every gust of wind. Ava's heartbeat quickened. "Stop the car." "Ms. Monroe." "Now, Marcus!" The brakes screeched, tires slipping slightly on the ice. Before the car had even fully stopped, Ava pushed the door open. The freezing wind tore into her, biting through her coat. "Hey!" she shouted, her voice nearly lost in the roar of the storm. The girl turned, eyes glassy and terrified, then collapsed face first into the snow. Ava ran. The snow swallowed her heels with every step until she dropped to her knees beside the motionless body. The child's skin was pale, her lips tinged purple. Ava brushed the hair from her face and whispered, "Oh my God." She hadn't spoken those words in years. "Marcus, get the blanket from the back seat, now!" The driver rushed over, his hands trembling as he handed her the wool blanket. Ava wrapped it around the girl, pulling her close. The child was light as air, like a ghost made of bone and frost. "Come on, sweetheart." "Stay with me," Ava murmured, her breath fogging against the girl's cheek. "You're going to be okay." The girl stirred faintly, eyes fluttering open. They were a haunting gray, dull but deep with something unspoken. "Name," Ava whispered. The child's lips quivered. "Lily." Ava smiled faintly, trying to sound calm though her heart was pounding. "Lily. I'm Ava. You're safe now. I promise." The girl blinked weakly, confusion in her eyes. "I waited," she said, her voice a ghost of a sound. "She didn't come back." Ava froze. The words hit her like a blow. Memories she'd buried beneath years of empire and achievement rose unbidden. The empty hospital hallway, her mother's last voicemail, the promise she never got to keep. She swallowed hard, forcing herself to focus. "You're not alone anymore, Lily. I've got you." Inside the car, the heat blasted on full. Ava held Lily close, rubbing her arms and whispering words she didn't even know she remembered how to say. "Stay awake, okay? Just a little longer." But Lily's eyes were closing again, her breath growing shallow. "Marcus, hospital. Fast." Marcus nodded, speeding through the white labyrinth of streets. But the blizzard grew worse. Visibility dropped to almost nothing. The GPS flickered, then died. "Roads are closing, ma'am," Marcus said through clenched teeth. "An accident near the bridge. We're boxed in." Ava looked around, panic breaking through the composure she was famous for. "There has to be another way." "I'm trying, but the signal's gone." The car jolted violently as it hit a drift. Ava clutched Lily tighter. The child's head fell against her chest, her pulse faint beneath frozen skin. "Don't do this," Ava whispered fiercely. "Not you. Not tonight." She pressed a trembling hand to her pendant, a small silver cross that once belonged to her mother. It had been years since she'd worn it, but tonight, for reasons she couldn't explain, she'd put it on. Now it burned cold against her skin. She closed her eyes. If anyone's listening, help her. Please. A sudden clang echoed through the night, metal striking metal, distant yet distinct. Ava's head snapped up. Marcus frowned. What the hell was that? The sound came again. Then, through the swirling snow, a faint light appeared ahead. It wasn't the white beam of a headlight. This was softer, warmer. It pulsed gently, like the glow of an old lantern cutting through the storm. Ava stared. "Do you see that?" Marcus nodded slowly. "Looks like someone out there?" The light flickered closer, weaving through the snow like a living thing. Lily stirred in Ava's arms, her voice a trembling whisper. "Mama said the light would come when it's almost too late." A chill ran down Ava's spine. Marcus turned to her, eyes wide. "Ma'am?" But Ava barely heard him. Her gaze was locked on the moving glow outside. Steady, strange, and impossibly real. She took a deep breath and reached for the door handle. "Stay here," she said quietly. Then she stepped out into the blizzard, toward the light. Snow whipped around Ava Monroe like shards of glass, biting through her coat as she stepped out into the blizzard. The cold hit her lungs, sharp and metallic, each breath turning to steam before vanishing into the white void. Behind her, the Rolls-Royce's headlights barely pierced the storm. Ahead, only that light, swaying softly like it was waiting for her. She glanced back once. Through the fogged window, she could see Lily, motionless beneath the blanket, her small face pale as snow. Ava's heart clenched. She turned and pushed forward, her heels slipping on the frozen road. "Hello?" she shouted into the wind. "Is someone there?" No answer. Only the whine of the storm. But the light moved, slowly, deliberately. It wasn't random. It was leading her. Each step felt heavier than the last. The snow rose to her knees, soaking the hem of her coat. The cold gnawed at her fingers, and her breath came in gasps. Still, she followed. The light dipped behind a cluster of dead trees, then reappeared, closer this time, glowing amber against the white. And then she saw it, a small cabin, half buried under snowdrifts, smoke faintly rising from its crooked chimney. For a moment, Ava just stood there, stunned. Out here, in the middle of nowhere. Someone lived? She hurried toward it, stumbling up the frozen steps and pounding on the door. "Hello, please. There's a child in my car. She's freezing." No response. She knocked again, louder this time. "Please, open up." A moment passed. Then the door creaked open a few inches, releasing a wave of warm air scented with wood smoke. A lantern glowed inside, casting long shadows on the wooden floor. A woman's voice came from within, hoarse but calm. "Bring her in." Ava didn't hesitate. She rushed back to the car, scooped Lily into her arms, and carried her towards the cabin. The girl's body felt even colder now, frighteningly still. Inside, the warmth hit like a miracle. A fire crackled in the stone hearth. Old quilts covered the furniture. Everything smelled of pine and cinnamon. The woman who stood by the fire looked to be in her late 60s, skin the color of dark mahogany, silver hair tied back in a scarf. Her eyes, sharp and knowing, met Ava's as if she'd been expecting her. Lay her down by the fire, the woman said, motioning to a rug near the hearth. Ava knelt, placing Lily gently down. The woman moved quickly, wrapping the child in thick blankets, then pressed a warm cloth to her forehead. "She's in shock," the woman murmured. "But she's breathing. You found her just in time." Ava exhaled, relief trembling through her body. "I didn't know where else to go. The roads are closed, there's no signal." The woman nodded slowly, studying her. "You weren't meant to turn back anyway." Ava blinked. "Excuse me?" But the woman said nothing more. She turned her attention to the girl, whispering something soft. Words Ava couldn't quite hear. For a fleeting moment, the firelight seemed to brighten, and Lily stirred, her small hand twitching beneath the blanket. Ava knelt closer, brushing the girl's hair from her face. "Hey, Lily, it's okay. You're safe now." Lily's lips parted slightly. "Where's my mom?" The words hit Ava like ice water. She froze. The older woman looked up, eyes narrowing. "Do you know her mother?" Ava shook her head quickly. "No, I just found her. Out there. Alone." The woman stared for a moment longer, as if weighing truth against silence. Then she nodded. "You did right bringing her here." Ava glanced around the cabin. It was simple but strangely beautiful. Old photographs lining the mantel, a Bible open on the table, the faint hum of wind outside muffled by thick walls. "Thank you," Ava said quietly. "You've saved her life." The woman smiled faintly. "It wasn't me who found her." Ava frowned. "What do you mean?" The woman didn't answer right away. Instead, she turned to the fire and stirred the embers. Sometimes, the storm brings those who've lost their way. Sometimes, it brings those who need to find something more. Ava stiffened. "Look, I don't know what you mean by that, but I—" The woman raised a hand, her tone firm but gentle. "You've carried pain longer than you admit, child. You think you left it behind in those glass towers and boardrooms, but it never left you." Ava's chest tightened. "I don't know what you're talking about." The woman met her gaze, eyes gleaming in the firelight. "Don't you?" Silence fell between them. The only sound was the crackle of the fire and the storm outside battering the windows. Then, softly, Lily spoke again, her voice distant, dreamlike. "She had the same necklace." Ava turned sharply. "What did you say, Lily?" Lily's eyes fluttered open halfway. Her trembling hand reached out toward the pendant around Ava's neck, the small silver cross. "That," Lily whispered weakly. "Mama had that too." Ava's breath caught. She lifted the pendant, staring at it as if seeing it for the first time. The same design, simple, worn, the cross her mother had given her before the world had taken everything else. But how could Lily's mother have had one too? Before she could speak, a sudden gust shook the cabin, and a low groan echoed from outside, the sound of something heavy collapsing under the snow. Marcus burst through the door, breathless. "Ms. Monroe! The car! Something hit it! There's movement out there!" Ava spun toward the window. Through the frost-covered glass, she saw shadows shifting in the storm. Dark, hulking shapes she couldn't quite make out. The older woman's voice dropped low, her expression unreadable. "Stay inside. The storm isn't done yet." Ava's pulse hammered. She reached instinctively for Lily's hand. The girl's eyes opened again, faintly glowing in the firelight. "Don't go out there," she whispered, voice trembling. "It's looking for you." And then, silence. The fire flickered violently, and for a heartbeat, the lantern light dimmed, as if something outside had drawn the warmth away. Ava stared toward the window and saw the light again. But this time, it wasn't golden. It was blue, cold, alive, and it was moving straight toward the cabin. The blue glow crept closer, rippling through the storm like a living pulse. It wasn't the gentle shimmer Ava had followed before. This was colder, sharper, almost electric. It flickered against the snow, casting eerie shadows through the frosted window panes of the cabin. Ava's breath fogged in the air as she whispered, "What is that?" The older woman, whose name Ava still didn't know, stood perfectly still, her gaze fixed on the light. "You should sit down," she said quietly. "I'm not sitting," Ava snapped, her voice trembling despite her effort to sound calm. "My driver said something hit the car. If someone's out there—" The woman turned to her slowly, eyes deep and unreadable. "That's not someone. That's something." Ava stared, her heart pounding. "You're not making any sense." The woman moved to the fireplace and reached for a small wooden box on the mantel. Inside was an old, half-burnt candle and a vial of clear liquid. She dipped her fingers into it and began drawing a small symbol on the door, a cross encircled by a ring. Ava took a step back. "What are you doing?" "Keeping the dark from coming in," the woman murmured. "It always follows the lost. And tonight, it's found 2 of you." Ava froze. "2?" Before the woman could answer, the cabin shook violently. The lanterns rattled. Snow poured through the cracks around the window frame. Marcus rushed to the door, instinctively grabbing the handle. But the woman shouted, "Don't open it!" He stopped, startled. "Lady, there's something out there." "That's exactly why you don't open it," she barked. The air grew colder. The fire sputtered, dimming to a weak orange glow. Ava could see her breath, thick and white. Her heart raced as she looked toward Lily. The girl was awake now, sitting upright though her body still trembled. Her gray eyes were fixed on the window, where the light pulsed brighter and brighter. "Lily," Ava whispered, kneeling beside her. "Sweetheart, stay with me, okay? We're safe here." Lily didn't respond. Her voice was distant, almost detached. "It's the same light, the one that came when she left." Ava frowned. "When who left?" "My mama." The words came out as a whisper. But in that instant, Ava felt the room shift. The sound of the storm dulled, and a strange pressure filled the air, like the moment before a thunderclap. Ava's hand tightened around Lily's. "What do you mean, the same light?" Lily's eyes glistened. "It took her away. She said she'd come back, but she didn't." The blue glow flared brighter, bathing the cabin walls in shimmering light. Ava's stomach twisted. She looked toward the window again, and this time, she saw. A figure stood in the storm, tall, motionless. The light wasn't coming from it. It was it. Its edges blurred like it was made of mist and lightning, but its eyes, if those were eyes, burned white-hot through the snow. Ava stumbled backward, choking out, "Oh my God." The woman placed a hand on her shoulder, steadying her. "Don't speak his name in fear," she said softly. "Not when faith is the only thing standing between you and it." Marcus's voice broke through, shaking. We have to leave. We can't just sit here while that thing—" "Leave and you'll die," the woman cut him off. "That light feeds on those who run. It hunts despair. You stand your ground. You keep hope." Ava swallowed hard. "Hope? I haven't had that in years." The woman turned to her, eyes shining like molten gold. "Then maybe tonight, you'll remember what it feels like." A crack split through the window, thin at first, then widening with a sharp snap. Wind roared in, scattering embers from the hearth. Lily cried out, and Ava instinctively shielded her with her body. The blue light poured into the room, painting everything in ghostly hues. Ava felt her skin prickle, her vision blur. For a moment, she wasn't in the cabin anymore. She saw a hospital hallway, sterile white, a monitor flatlining, a young version of herself kneeling beside a hospital bed, her mother's hand slipping from hers, and a faint, impossible glow in the corner of the room. Blue, soft, beckoning. Ava gasped, stumbling back into the present. I've seen it before. The woman nodded slowly. I know. Ava stared. How could you possibly? Because it comes for the ones who carry too much grief, the woman said. And it came for your mother before it ever came for you. Her voice was calm, but every word landed like a strike to the chest. Lily whimpered, curling into Ava's side. Don't let it take me too. Ava held her tight. I won't, I promise. The woman began humming, a low, melodic tune that rose and fell like waves. She pulled a small pouch from her pocket and threw its contents into the fire. The flames erupted, flaring gold and red, pushing the blue light back. For a moment it worked. The figure outside shrank, the glow dimming slightly. Then, a voice, low and cold, rolled through the air. Not from outside, from everywhere. You left her. Ava froze. The voice wasn't unfamiliar, it was her mother's. Her throat closed. No, that's not. You promised you'd come back, it whispered. But you never did. Tears stung Ava's eyes. Stop. You built your world to forget me. Money. Power. But grief doesn't die, Ava. It waits. Stop! Ava screamed, standing abruptly. The pendant around her neck glowed faintly, reflecting the firelight. Lily clung to her arm, terrified. Don't listen! The woman's voice broke through the chaos, commanding and strong. Ava Monroe, you either let the past own you, or you face it and save her. The floorboards trembled. The fire roared higher. Ava's pendant blazed white. The blue light surged one last time, blinding. Then everything went silent. Ava fell to her knees, clutching Lily, gasping for air. The light was gone. The window was cracked, but whole again. Marcus stared at the empty snowfield beyond the glass. It's gone? The woman didn't answer. She looked at Ava, eyes soft now. Not gone. Changed. It's waiting. For what you'll do next. Ava looked down at Lily, who was now breathing steadily, color returning to her cheeks. Outside, the blizzard began to fade, the snow falling slower, gentler, almost peaceful. But inside Ava's heart, something else had begun to stir. Not fear. Not grief. Something she hadn't felt in years. Faith. The storm eased into a whisper by dawn. Snow dripped from the eaves, the world outside washed in silver light. Inside the cabin, the fire had died down to glowing embers. The silence was heavy, not peace, but the pause before truth begins to speak. Ava Monroe sat on the floor beside Lily, who slept soundly for the first time since the night began. The child's breathing was steady now. Her tiny hand curled around the hem of Ava's coat, as if she feared she might disappear. Ava didn't move. She couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that blue light, and her mother's face whispering her name through it. She felt the warmth of tears she hadn't realized were falling. For the first time in years, Ava allowed herself to cry. Not the elegant tears of sympathy shown at charity galas, but the raw kind that burns your chest on its way out. A soft sound stirred behind her. The older woman stepped from the shadows, holding 2 steaming cups of tea. You didn't sleep, she said. Ava shook her head. Couldn't. The woman handed her a cup and sat down across from her. Grief never truly sleeps. It just changes faces. Ava looked up. You said that light came from my mother. What did you mean? The woman stirred her tea slowly. Your mother's name was Clara, wasn't it? Ava's heart stopped. How do you? I remember her, the woman said softly. She used to come to my church, years ago, a kind woman. She prayed every week for her daughter, the one she said was destined for greatness but too proud to. Believe in grace. Ava's throat tightened. You knew her? I knew her faith, the woman said. And I knew her pain. The night she passed, she asked me to deliver something to you, but I couldn't find where you'd gone. You vanished from the city before morning." Ava swallowed hard. "I left because I couldn't stay. I thought if I kept moving, kept building, I could outrun the pain." The woman nodded. "And instead, it found you tonight." Ava looked toward Lily. "What about her?" "That thing. The light was after her too. She said it took her mother. How could that be connected to me?" The woman set her cup down and walked to a small chest by the hearth. She opened it carefully and pulled out an envelope. Old, yellowed, the edges softened by time. She handed it to Ava. "I think it's time you read this." Ava hesitated, her hands trembling as she unfolded the letter inside. The handwriting was unmistakable. Looped, careful, the same script that once signed her school notes and tucked reminders into her lunchbox. "My dearest Ava, if you're reading this, then I'm gone. I pray you found someone kind enough to bring this to you. There are things I couldn't tell you before. Things you had a right to know. Years ago, when I lost your father, I found myself caring for another child. Her name was Grace. Her mother, my sister, died bringing her into this world. I took her in, but I couldn't raise two alone while my heart was still breaking. So I gave her to a family up north. A quiet family, kind but poor. I wanted to find her again when things were better. But time ran away from me. I feared you'd resent me if you knew. But Ava, she's part of you. Your blood. And if there ever comes a night when the storm finds you both, save her. Please. Remember, light isn't only heaven's messenger. Sometimes it comes to show us what still needs healing. With love, your mother, Clara." Ava's hands shook. She stared at the words, unblinking, as if they might disappear if she blinked too fast. "Grace," she whispered. The name felt unfamiliar, yet strangely warm. The woman's voice broke the silence. "The child you found tonight, Ava. Her full name is Lily Grace Carter." The room spun. Ava looked toward the sleeping girl, her heartbeat thundering in her ears. "No, that's impossible." "Is it?" The woman's tone was gentle but unyielding. "You didn't just find her by chance, Ava. The storm led you here. Just as your mother once prayed it would." Ava's mouth went dry. "You're saying Lily is your sister's daughter," the woman finished. "Your niece. The last living thread of your mother's family." Ava pressed a hand to her chest, as if to hold herself together. She felt dizzy, breathless, undone. "Why now? Why after all this time?" The woman looked into the dying embers. "Because redemption comes when we're ready to see it. And tonight you were ready." The air in the room thickened with emotion. Grief, disbelief, wonder. A faint voice stirred from the rug. "Ava?" Lily was awake. Her gray eyes blinked open, drowsy but alive. Ava rushed to her side, kneeling. "Hey, sweetheart, you're okay. You scared me." Lily smiled faintly. "The light's gone." Ava brushed a tear from her cheek. "Yeah, it's gone." The child studied her for a moment, then reached up and touched the pendant at Ava's throat. "You were crying in your sleep," she said. "My mama used to cry like that too." Ava's chest ached. She didn't trust her voice, so she just pulled Lily into her arms. Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, gilding the snow in pale gold. The cabin filled with a soft light that felt clean, alive, different from the cold blue of the night before. Marcus stood near the window, speechless. "Ma'am, the roads are clear. The storm just vanished." Ava turned to the woman. "Who are you?" The woman smiled faintly. "Just someone who keeps watch when the storms come." She began gathering her things. A small bundle of herbs, the candle, the empty vial. "Wait," Ava said, standing. I don't even know your name." The woman looked back at her. "Call me what your mother did, Gracekeeper." And before Ava could speak again, the woman stepped out into the light and was gone, her footprints fading almost instantly in the new snow. Ava stood frozen for a long moment, unsure if any of it had been real. Then Lily's small hand slipped into hers. "Can we go home now?" the girl asked softly. Ava looked down at her, heart breaking open in the gentlest way. "Yes," she said. "We can go home." As they stepped outside, the world felt reborn. The air smelled clean, the storm's fury replaced by a calm that felt almost divine. But deep inside, Ava knew the real storm hadn't just passed. It had changed her. She wasn't the same woman who'd left her penthouse last night. She was something else. Not just a billionaire, not just a survivor, but a sister, a protector. A second chance her mother had prayed for long ago. And as she and Lily walked toward the waiting car, Ava whispered under her breath, voice trembling but full of new strength. "Thank you, Mama. I found her." The drive back to New York was quiet. The storm had dissolved into morning fog, and the rising sun spread streaks of pale gold across the snow. Inside the Rolls-Royce, Ava Monroe sat in the back seat, one arm around Lily, who slept with her head against Ava's shoulder. The child's small breaths were rhythmic, steady, warm. For once, Ava didn't scroll through emails or answer calls. Her phone buzzed endlessly with notifications, missed meetings, urgent contracts, messages from her assistant. But she ignored them all. None of it mattered anymore. Not the way it once did. Her eyes drifted to the skyline ahead. The towers, piercing the mist like cold spears of glass. The city she ruled over suddenly looked different, lonelier. Marcus cleared his throat from the front seat. "Ma'am, you sure you don't want to stop by the hospital first?" Ava looked down at Lily, her small hand clutching the pendant on Ava's wrist. "No, she needs rest, not chaos. Take us home." "Home," Marcus echoed softly, almost as if testing the word. When they reached her penthouse, a sprawling glass sanctuary that overlooked Central Park, Ava felt the weight of her choices pressing in. The marble floors gleamed. The air smelled faintly of orchids and polished steel. Every inch screamed success, control, distance. She realized how empty it sounded when Lily whispered, "It's so big." Ava knelt to meet her gaze. "It's just a place, sweetheart. You can make it feel smaller if you fill it with love." Lily blinked up at her, then smiled shyly. "Then it's not small yet." The words hit harder than they should have. Ava smiled faintly. "Then we'll fix that." She led Lily to one of the guest rooms, a soft, pale blue space overlooking the city. "You can sleep here," she said, setting down the blanket the older woman had wrapped around the girl in the cabin. It still carried a faint scent of wood smoke and pine. Lily ran to the window, pressing her small hands to the glass. "It's so high up. Do you live in the clouds?" Ava laughed softly, surprising herself. "Sometimes it feels like it." That night, after tucking Lily into bed, Ava stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, staring out at the endless grid of city lights. It looked almost like a second sky, one built by people who'd forgotten the stars. Her reflection stared back at her. The same flawless image, perfect hair, flawless skin, tailored suit. But behind it, her eyes looked older. Tired. Human. A voice echoed in her memory. "Grief never truly sleeps. It just changes faces." Ava pressed her hand to the cold glass. "What am I supposed to do with her, Mom?" she whispered. "I don't know how to be what she needs." There was no answer. Only the city humming far below. She turned, about to leave the room, when she noticed something, a faint glow near Lily's bedside table. Her heart skipped. the light. It wasn't blue this time. It was golden, soft, like sunlight underwater. It hovered for a moment, then settled gently over Lily's sleeping form before fading into the air. Ava approached slowly, heart pounding. She reached out, but the glow vanished completely. "Not again," she murmured. But this light had felt different, calmer, almost protective. That night, she didn't sleep. She sat by Lily's bedside until dawn, listening to the city wake below them. The next morning brought chaos. By 8 a.m., the tabloids had already exploded with headlines. "Missing child found with billionaire Ava Monroe." Who is the mystery girl in the snow? Ava Monroe's secret life. An heir or a scandal? Her assistant, Clara Jenkins, burst into the penthouse, flustered and pale. "Ava, we need a statement now. The press is circling like sharks. Everyone's asking who the girl is, child services, PR, even the governor's office." Ava took a deep breath, setting down her coffee. "Tell them the truth. I found her during the blizzard and brought her home." Clara hesitated. "That won't be enough. They'll start digging. They already are." Ava's jaw tightened. "Then let them dig." Lily peeked out from the hallway, rubbing her eyes. "Ava?" Ava softened instantly. "Hey, sweetheart, did I wake you?" The girl shook her head. "They're yelling on TV. They said you're in trouble." Ava forced a smile. "No, baby. Sometimes people just talk when they don't understand something good." Lily frowned. "But you saved me. That's good." Ava knelt, brushing hair from her face. "Yeah," she whispered. "It is." But later, as the calls flooded in and lawyers demanded explanations, Ava realized something deeper. Saving Lily wasn't enough. The world didn't know mercy. It only knew curiosity and control. And soon, someone would come to take the girl away if she didn't fight for her. That night, Ava stood again by the window, city lights flickering like restless thoughts. Behind her, Lily slept peacefully, wrapped in the same old blanket from the cabin. Ava's phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "You can't hide from destiny, Ava. The light will find you again when it's time." She froze. No name. No number. Just that one sentence. Her pulse raced. She looked around the room, half expecting the older woman, the gracekeeper, to appear in the doorway. But she didn't. Ava typed back, "Who is this?" No reply. Instead, a faint glimmer appeared outside the glass again. Not blue, not gold, just a soft, steady shimmer, like a heartbeat in the distance. She pressed her palm to the window, staring into the vast night. Somewhere out there, something still waited, unfinished, unseen. Behind her, Lily stirred in her sleep, whispering softly, "Don't be afraid. She's watching over you now." Ava turned to her, eyes wide. "Who is Lily?" But the girl was already asleep again, breathing softly. Ava whispered into the silence, "Mama?" The wind outside answered faintly, brushing against the glass like a sigh. And as Ava looked out over her empire of light, she finally understood. This wasn't the end of her story. It was the beginning of something she'd never believed she deserved, a chance to build not an empire, but a family. The next few days blurred into chaos. Reporters camped outside Ava Monroe's building, their cameras flashing through the winter haze like lightning. Headlines screamed from every screen, twisting the story into 1,000 versions of the truth. Was the girl really abandoned or taken? Monroe Empire faces inquiry. What's the billionaire hiding? Ava tried to shield Lily from the noise, but the city had no mercy. Even inside her penthouse, the walls seemed to hum with whispers. She was sitting in her study when Clara Jenkins, her assistant, stepped in, a thick folder clutched in her hands. "Ava, Child Services called again. They're demanding a formal custody hearing. Tomorrow morning." Ava looked up slowly. "They want to take her." Clara nodded. "They'll claim it's for the child's safety. They've already opened a case file. You'll need to prove you're fit to care for her, and that you're not emotionally unstable after what happened." Ava scoffed. "Unstable? Because I saved a little girl from freezing to death?" Clara's tone softened. "You know how this world works. People love a scandal more than a miracle." Ava turned to the window. The city lights pulsed faintly through the fog. For a moment she thought she saw a shimmer again, like a thread of light weaving through the air, watching her. She whispered, "They won't take her from me." Not again. That night, the air in the penthouse felt charged, electric. Lily sat curled on the couch, drawing with crayons Ava had bought her that morning. The paper was filled with swirling colors, gold, blue, white, blending into strange shapes that looked almost alive. Ava knelt beside her. "That's beautiful." "What is it?" Lily looked up, serious. "It's her." Ava frowned. "Who?" "The lady who helped us, the one who talked to you in the cabin." Ava's breath caught. "The Gracekeeper?" Lily nodded. "She comes when I'm scared. She says light listens when you believe." Ava stared at the drawing. In the center, a tall figure stood with outstretched hands, light spilling from her palms. Around her, tiny orbs floated. Some gold, some blue, and behind it all, two shadows intertwined, like mother and daughter. "Lily," Ava whispered, "did she tell you anything else?" The girl's eyes darkened. "She said the storm isn't over. It just moved inside you." A chill rippled through Ava's chest. "Inside me?" Lily nodded solemnly. "She said you have to forgive the part of you that left." Ava swallowed hard. Left who? But Lily only went back to coloring, humming softly under her breath. The next morning, the courtroom felt colder than the blizzard that had started it all. Ava sat at the front, immaculate in her black coat, flanked by her lawyer. Across the room, two child services agents whispered to each other, occasionally glancing at her as though she were a specimen under glass. Lily sat with a social worker, legs swinging nervously. She clutched the pendant Ava had given her, the same one her mother once wore. The judge, a gray-haired woman with sharp eyes, cleared her throat. "Ms. Monroe, your intentions are noted. But as it stands, this child has no legal ties to you. Can you provide evidence of kinship?" Ava's lawyer rose. "Your Honor, we are in the process of obtaining DNA confirmation, but we do have a letter from Ms. Monroe's late mother, identifying Lily Grace Carter as her great-niece." The judge adjusted her glasses. "A letter is not proof, it's sentiment." Ava's composure cracked. "With all due respect, Your Honor, I didn't bring this child into my home for sentiment. I did it because no one else would. Because she would have died out there. Alone." The judge studied her. "And what makes you think you can give her what she needs, Ms. Monroe?" Ava hesitated, then met her gaze. "Because I know what it feels like to be left in the cold and wait for someone who never comes." Silence rippled across the courtroom. Then Lily stood up, unprompted, and walked to Ava's side. She took her hand, small fingers wrapping around Ava's. "She didn't have to come back," Lily said, her voice trembling but clear. "But she did." A murmur swept through the room. Even the judge's expression softened. Before anyone could speak, the lights flickered. A strange hum filled the air, low, resonant, almost musical. Then, for a single heartbeat, the courtroom glowed with a faint golden shimmer. Gasps erupted. The lights steadied. The glow vanished as quickly as it came. Ava froze, her hand trembling in Lily's. She glanced at the child. Lily was smiling faintly, eyes glistening with quiet peace. The judge blinked, shaken. "Court will recess until further notice," she said, her voice unsteady. "Ms. Monroe, please remain available for follow-up." As people filed out, Clara rushed to Ava's side. "Did you see that?" she whispered. "That light." Ava nodded slowly. It's not over. That night, back in the penthouse, Ava stood once more at the window. The city glittered below, endless and indifferent. But now, when she looked into the glass, she didn't see her reflection. She saw her mother's face, soft, luminous, smiling. And behind her, the faint silhouette of the Gracekeeper. Ava's throat tightened. "Why are you showing me this?" she whispered. The reflection shimmered. Then a voice, not in her head but everywhere around her, whispered, "Because light doesn't choose who it saves. It chooses who will save next." Ava pressed her hand to the glass. "What do you want me to do?" The voice faded, leaving only a faint echo. "Keep her safe. The storm wasn't meant to destroy. It was meant to bring you home." Behind her, Lily stirred from sleep, whispering Ava's name. Ava turned, tears glinting in her eyes. She walked to the girl's bedside, brushing her hair gently. "I promise," Ava whispered. "Whatever comes next, I won't let the storm take you." Outside, lightning flickered somewhere over the river. But this time, it wasn't frightening. It was beautiful, like a promise being written in the sky. The city had started whispering. At first, it was just a murmur on social media. People claiming to see strange lights floating through the winter haze. Some said it was a glitch in the skyline. Others swore it followed them home. By the end of the week, it wasn't just whispers. It was headlines. Mysterious light phenomena over Manhattan, caught on camera. The Monroe miracle, Billionaire's name linked to unexplained glow. Ava Monroe watched the news in silence. The golden shimmer on the screen was unmistakable. The same glow she'd seen in the cabin, in the courtroom, and hovering above Lily's bed. Clara Jenkins stood beside her, pale. "This is getting out of control. People think you're involved somehow. Some even say you're performing miracles." Ava turned off the screen. "I didn't cause it." "Then who did?" Ava looked toward the hallway where Lily was humming softly to herself. The girl sat cross-legged on the floor, drawing again. This time entire cityscapes bathed in light. Her small fingers moved quickly, the wax colors merging into gold and silver streaks. "She did," Ava said quietly. "Or maybe it's something moving through her." Clara frowned. "Ava, that sounds—" "I know how it sounds," Ava interrupted. "But you saw it in court. You felt it." Clara hesitated, then nodded. "So what now? You hide her? Or you show the world?" Ava didn't answer. Instead, she crossed the room and knelt beside Lily. "What are you drawing this time, sweetheart?" Lily looked up, smiling faintly. "Home." Ava studied the paper. In the center was a tall tower of glass, her penthouse. But above it, spreading from the rooftop, was a radiant light that reached across the skyline, touching every dark corner of the city. "Why is it shining like that?" Ava asked softly. Lily's voice dropped to a whisper. "Because it's calling them." "Calling who?" "The lost ones." Ava's heart skipped. "Lily, what do you mean?" The girl's eyes grew distant. "She told me they're coming, the ones who can't find their way home." Before Ava could ask more, a sharp crack of thunder split the sky. The windows trembled. Outside, the golden glow pulsed again, stronger, closer. Ava rushed to the window. Clouds swirled over Manhattan, yet from within, the storm poured streaks of light, not lightning, threads weaving through the skyscrapers, spiraling like veins of living gold. Clara backed away. "Oh my God." Lily stood beside Ava, calm amid the chaos. "She's here," she whispered. Ava turned. "Who's here?" "The Gracekeeper." And then, just for a moment, Ava saw her. The woman stood in the reflection of the glass, cloaked in light, her eyes soft but fierce. Her voice filled the room like 1,000 heartbeats, speaking at once. "Ava Monroe, the storm brought you what? You lost. Now you must return. What the world forgot. Ava's pulse raced. What do you want from me? Faith, the voice said. The kind your mother had before the world taught her to fear it. The lights in the apartment flickered. Lily clung to Ava's hand. The light is not just for saving, the Gracekeeper continued. It's for healing. Every soul it touches carries the memory of mercy. But mercy cannot live in secrecy. Ava shook her head. I'm not ready. I'm not. You already are. And with that, the reflection shattered into golden fragments that scattered across the room before dissolving into the air. Lily turned to her, eyes wide but calm. She said it's time. Time for what? Ava asked, her voice trembling. To let them see. The next day, Ava Monroe did something no one expected. She called a press conference. The rooftop of Monroe Tower, usually reserved for private investors and VIP galas, now swarmed with cameras, reporters, and drones buzzing like mechanical bees. The city stretched endlessly below, the winter sun barely piercing the haze. When Ava stepped up to the podium, she wasn't the polished CEO everyone knew. She wore a simple gray coat. No jewelry, no makeup. Just truth. Lily stood beside her, holding her hand. The crowd fell silent. Ava took a deep breath. A week ago, I found this child in the snow. I didn't know her name, her story, or why fate put her in my path. All I knew was that she was alone. And I couldn't walk away. Her voice wavered, but she steadied it. Since then, I've seen things I can't explain. Lights, storms, miracles. Call it what you want, but I believe it means something. It's not about power. It's not about money. It's about remembering that we all come from the same light. The crowd murmured. Ava looked down at Lily, then back at the sea of cameras. This little girl reminded me that salvation doesn't come from what we build. It comes from who we choose to save. And if that light has chosen to show itself through us, then we have a responsibility to share it. Someone shouted from the crowd, "Are you saying this is divine intervention?" Ava smiled faintly. I'm saying that even in the darkest blizzards, something still finds you, and maybe that something is love. At that moment, a hush fell. The air seemed to hum again, the same low, resonant note that filled the courtroom days before. A beam of golden light pierced through the clouds, striking the roof in a soft cascade. The air shimmered. Reporters gasped. Cameras captured everything. Lily's pendant began to glow. Ava turned toward her and saw the Gracekeeper again, not in reflection this time, but standing among them, ethereal, radiant. The woman smiled. You've done well, Ava. Ava whispered, Is it over? The Gracekeeper shook her head gently. It's only beginning. The light moves now through. All who believe. And as she faded into the sunlight, the golden glow spread, pouring off the rooftop, washing across the skyline like dawn breaking after centuries of night. People down in the streets stopped in their tracks. Strangers looked up. Some wept. Others reached out as if to touch the light itself. For the first time in her life, Ava Monroe wasn't afraid of being seen. She knelt beside Lily, tears in her eyes. You were right, she whispered. We are home. And the child smiled as the city of glass finally learned how to shine. The city below shimmered under the golden light, streets and skyscrapers glowing like a living constellation. For a moment, Ava Monroe simply stood at the edge of the rooftop, feeling the warmth of the light on her face, the hum vibrating through her bones. Beside her, Lily tugged at her coat. Ava, is it really over? Ava looked down at the child, whose small hand fit perfectly into hers. She felt the weight of every choice she had made, the distance she'd put between herself and those she loved, the years spent chasing power instead of connection. I don't know. Ava admitted softly. But I know one thing. I can't go back to being the person I was. Lily tilted her head. What does that mean? It means, Ava said, drawing her close, that from now on we live for the people we care about. Not for wealth, not for titles, not for anything else. We protect each other. We give each other second chances. A golden breeze stirred across the rooftop. The faint silhouette of the Gracekeeper appeared one last time, radiating warmth without a sound. She extended a hand toward Ava. You've learned well, the woman said, her voice like a song carried on wind. Light finds those who believe, but it only shines where hearts are open. Ava reached toward the glow, but the Gracekeeper merely smiled and dissolved into the light, leaving Ava and Lily bathed in its warmth. The hum faded. The city below returned to its normal rhythm. But something had changed. People walking the streets paused for a moment, instinctively lifting their faces to the light. And for the first time, Ava felt what she had been missing all her life. A connection, not only to Lily, but to the world around her. Back in the penthouse, the world waited. Lawyers called, reporters called, emails flooded in. But Ava didn't answer. Instead, she helped Lily unpack her things. Crayons, drawings, favorite blankets. Every small act felt monumental, like rebuilding a life piece by piece. Do you think Mama would be proud? Lily asked, holding a drawing of the two of them under a golden sky. Ava knelt beside her. She would be, and so am I, baby girl. So am I. Later, as the city lights glittered through the glass walls, Ava sat alone for a moment, reflecting on everything that had happened. She thought of her mother, of the storms, of the Gracekeeper, and of the little girl she had found in the blizzard. Everything had led her here. Everything had led her to this moment of choice. She could return to her old life, to boardrooms, to contracts, to empty power, or she could embrace the light, the responsibility, the miracle, the family she had been given. Ava pressed her hand to the pendant around her neck. Silver, worn, carrying the weight of generations. She felt Lily stir behind her, and without hesitation, Ava made her decision. She would walk forward into this new life, guided not by fear or ambition, but by love, by loyalty, by hope. Weeks later, life began to settle. The tabloids still followed her, but now they wrote different stories. Billionaire becomes guardian. Ava Monroe and her niece inspire the city. Golden light phenomenon believed to save lives in Manhattan. The public marveled at the strange events, but Ava no longer feared scrutiny. She had something far more precious, a family reborn, a bond she would protect at all costs, and the quiet certainty that miracles were real, even in the harshest blizzards. One evening, Ava and Lily sat by the fire in the penthouse. Lily's small hand traced circles in the glowing embers. "Do you think the light will come back?" she asked. Ava smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Maybe. Or maybe it's inside us now, wherever we go. And as long as we believe in it, it'll never really leave." Lily leaned against her, eyes closing. Ava held her tight, feeling the warmth of the fire, the warmth of hope, the warmth of family. The snow had melted from the city streets below. The blizzard was over. But inside their hearts, the light burned brighter than ever, proof that even after the coldest, darkest nights, redemption, love, and miracles could bloom. Ava whispered softly into the quiet room. "We're home, Lily. Truly home." And for the first time in her life, she felt it. Peace, courage, and the unwavering knowledge that love could guide her through any storm. Outside, the city slept under a soft glow, a reminder that light, even in the darkest corners, could always find a way.